Shannon Carlson, Jada Young, Eva Schoenfelder, Bella Karanen, Shandy Hodkins, Allison Ways, Ken Forbeck.
Nice. All right. Sophia Fardella, Tatiana Washington, Taria Patterson, Violet Kilmurray, Zaria Whitker, Julian Niola, Alaya Lockhart, Alemitu Keldart, B. Millen Windorski, Brendan Fardella, Christopher Washington,
Under you, buddy.
Cora Heinen, Deja Johnson, Elia Kaftman, Emma Boehm, Hewat Schultz, Isaac McKee, Julia Apple. Those were our marchers that committed themselves to marching from our capital to right here at Janesville, to the doorstep of our representative, Paul Ryan. Let's give them a huge welcome, all right? Marching 50 miles over 3 days to Janesville, Wisconsin.
Hi everybody, how are you doing?
My name is Violet Kilmurray. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior at Memorial High School in Eau Claire.
My name is B. Mian Windorski. I'm 15 and I'm a sophomore at Whitefish Bay High School.
My name is Shannon Carlson. I'm a freshman at Shorewood High School and I'm 14 years old.
My name is Zaria Whitaker. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior at Memorial High School in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
I marched this week because I want to be a part of the change that we're going to make. I won't give up until we get the laws that we want and need.
I marched this week because gun violence is an issue that affects every single American, especially the students of America. Enough is enough. And I want every policymaker out there to know that I will be voting in the 2020 elections and many other of my peers will be voting in the 2018 midterms.
I marched this week because I believe that everyone should feel safe in both public places and in schools, and so I could be a part of something big like this, and to get to know and to get to work with students who are just as passionate about this issue as I am.
I'm marched this week not only for my brothers and for my school, but for my community, my statewide and national community, so people can feel safe, because no more silence and gun violence.
So obviously we weren't the only 4 marchers these past 4 days. We had 40 of our amazing peers who are right here. Our marchers range from ages 11 to 18.
Wow.
And we come from schools all around the state. So we have students today from Shorewood High School, Shorewood Intermediate School, Whitefish Bay High School, Bradley Tech, Highland Community, Sun Prairie High School, Milwaukee College Prep, Rufus King High School, Janesville Craig, Memorial High School, Weeva Online High School, and Madison Country Day School.
So over these past couple of days, we've had an amazing outpouring of support, and we want to thank y'all for that. A specific story that sticks out in our mind is our first day in Evansville. We were greeted by a family on their front porch, and they were holding up a newspaper with us on the front. Not only is this illustrative of the fact that there is so much support for us out there, but this also shows that kids have a voice despite not having a vote. We will enact change.
Another memorable moment happened just yesterday. It was our longest trek, and we were low on energy, and this guy, he pulls up on the side of the road, gets out of his car, pops his trunk, and in his trunk are a bunch of waters. He then proceeds to hand it out to every marcher, and it was really important to us because we realized that we had support and that people had our backs.
So these examples show how long this 50 miles has been. And our 50-mile trek took over the course of 4 days. And every mile we marched, we spoke the name of a victim of gun violence and remembered them for that mile. Since we understand that gun violence is an issue that permeates in every aspect of American life, we alternated our victims between victims of gun violence in urban centers and victims of mass and school shootings. One of the first names that we read was Carmen Shentra, who was a victim in the recent Parkland shooting. And later on, we read the name of Justin Evans Jr., who was a victim of gun violence in Milwaukee, a community incredibly close to our hearts.
So not only was this a very emotional journey, it was also very physically strenuous, as it was 50 miles. So a quote from one of the people that were marching alongside us was, "My body hurts, but I have the privilege to walk, unlike those victims of gun violence, so I'm walking for them." And we may be going home with blisters on our feet or sore legs, but we will also be going home with full hearts, knowing that we are a part of history.
So we have so many amazing people to thank who made this march possible for us. So we're going to do some of those thank you now. We have thank yous to all of our donors and sponsors for this event. We want to thank everyone who gave us food and helped us along this journey, especially the members of the church in Oregon that gave us breakfast and the people who made us pasta for 2 nights. We also want to give a really big shout out to our amazing parent volunteers who stuck with us this whole week. They drove us around, they helped us get our food set up, they helped with coordinating things, so thank you to our amazing parents.
One activity that we did was a privilege talk, and for that, we were presented with everyday items that we didn't really think had a lot of significance, but then we discussed them and realized that because of our identities and privileges, these items meant different things to each of us. And one specific item we talked about was a Barbie doll. It was like your typical tall, skinny, blonde Barbie doll. And we talked about how that Barbie doll fails to represent all the children across America, specifically children of color and children who don't fit the ideal body type. And so one of our marchers actually posed a question about it concerning why only for a very long time in history only those skinny blonde Barbie dolls were sold, and whether it was a question of like consumerism or race and size. And we came to the conclusion that it's not about consumerism, it was just that we were never offered another option.
So yeah, we had a lot of activities that we did at night when we weren't marching to kind of build community, because when you're marching 50 miles with people, it's important that we have a community. So after that privilege talk, it was actually so impactful on some of us. We had a group of about 6 girls who ended up just sitting around for an hour talking about that, because that's how important it is that we talk about privilege in this movement. We also... Our second night, we also were split into random groups to try to get to know some more people, and we did a story slam and a hot seat. So you had 9 minutes to tell your group your life story, and then they got to ask questions, and that was a great bonding experience for us.
Yeah!
These activities and the sheer length of our trek really formed a strong community. On a lighter note, one of the funnier stories from this march is one of my dear friends, Aaliyah. She's a huge fan of Shawn and followed her back on Twitter. On our second night, we all sat around her and asked her how it felt. And this is just illustrative of how we formed this bond and how important social cohesion is towards these movements.
Another heartwarming memory was the second day. It was during lunch. We were taking a break at this church, which was so gracious enough to host us. And there was a piano there, and one of our marchers, Christopher Washington, just sat down and started playing 1,000 Miles, and immediately everyone started joining in and singing the song along with him. And it just, felt so united and just so happy in general in that one moment.
As you heard us walking in, we've done a crazy amount of chants these past 4 days. So we wanted to share one with you today that's our theme song. You probably heard it walking in, but we're going to sing it for you again. It's called #50More.
Hashtag 50 more. That's what we're here for. We're marching 50 miles right up to your front door. Paul Ryan, can you hear us? Huh? Huh? We're screaming. We're dying. We're crying for some gun reform because you are not informed on gun reform. We're marching. We're marching, marching, marching. We're marching 50 miles more. Paul Ryan, can you hear us? Huh? Huh? We're screaming. We're crying. Us kids out here are dying. If you don't listen, Paul, your rain will surely fall.
And so clearly we have definitely formed an amazing community here that we will definitely be taking home wherever we are from Wisconsin. And so thank you so much for listening to us give a little breakdown of our 50 miles. And now we will be introducing a spoken word poem written and performed by Hiwat Schutz, Alamitu, and Salome Coldart, and it will be entitled Enough. So give them a round of applause.
Hear us roar! 50 miles more! 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 Hear us roar! 50 miles more!
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
In the last 1,870 days, there
have been 1,624 mass shootings in the USA.
America the Great,
Right?
Home of the brave.
Also home of the AR-15s.
Children were not saved.
President wanting teachers to be armed, teachers who are overworked and underpaid. They are the ones who are paving our ways.
But now they gotta hold guns?
Tell me, how does that sound okay?
Adding more guns will solve America's gun violence rates, just like how
Good guys with guns will stop bad guys with guns.
sounds like common sense to you and me.
But to the congressman and the GOP,
Disregarding our cries, coming up with these lies.
gun culture become so Americanized.
Far too much power sits in the hands of white guys who never had to experience shootings in the schools or ruin their own lives.
The definition of school, an institution for educating the next generation. Nor does it say it's a place for gun recreation. Fortified walls, armed guards, metal detectors, sounds like incarceration, not education. As students, we shouldn't be scared to walk into our school administrations. Fear of going to class or turning the hallway shouldn't be an embarkation. 9/11 and we have strict airport instructions. 1,624 mass shootings and we still do nothing. Because we need more than thoughts and prayers when our people are dying.
How many is too many before you listen? How many is too many before you support stricter gun legislation?
Too many before gun accessories are banned. They're turning automatic weapons into automatic weapons.
What the hell is a weapon? How many is too many before y'all realize that gun violence happens on a daily? That the amount of time it takes to obtain a legal gun is minutes.
That this issue is one we should have solved decades ago.
It's time y'all realize that this is the end of not right now because we're making it right now.
Because we're tired of seeing the people we love and care for have their lives taken away due to careless law.
Weapons of war, weapons of hate, weapons that kill. 1,624. Is that enough for you? So hi, my name is Elamita Caldart,
I'm Salome Calder.
And I'm Hewat Schutz.
and we are a few of the organizers for 50 Miles More. When we wrote this poem, which is a few days after the Parkland shooting, the numbers were accurate in terms of the amount of mass shootings America has had in the last 1,870 days. However, as days have passed, the number of deaths due to gun violence in this country has increased. This is why we march. According to statistics reported by ABC News, 21 more children have been killed by gun violence in this country since the Parkland school shooting. That was just over a month and a half ago, and roughly equates to the death of one child every 2 days. And this statistic does not even take into account the deaths of adults due to gun violence. According to statistics reported on Every Town for Gun Safety website, 96 people die from gun violence every single day in America. Going by this, that's over 35,000 people a year dying to gun-related violence that could have been prevented. We can't ignore these statistics. We can't just look up how many people die a day due to gun-related violences and find out that the number is 96 and then say, wow, that's a lot, and then close the tab. We cannot ignore this.
America has one of the highest rates of mass shootings and gun violences in the Western world. Because we have grown up in a gun-cultured country that knows nothing better than the endorsement of such weapons. Military-style guns such as AR-15s that have the capacity to kill a mass amount of people have been normalized. With the add of bump stocks, guns become more dangerous than they already are. These accessories have the undefined ability to turn semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons. There's no need for military-style weapons for hunting or even protecting yourself. Those guns are made for the sole purpose of killing a mass amount of people, whether or not that is the intention.
We need to recognize and understand that these numbers are more than just numbers. 96, that's 96 people a day who someone loved and cared for and now has the unrelenting grief of never seeing them again. Every single day.
open letter to Paul Ryan, and I'll be reading that for you today. Dear Speaker Ryan, what I would say that you should know about students across the country is that we are resilient. We are not going to give up, and we will not stop until we have common sense gun laws. Your selfish, careless actions have not only hurt the district that you are supposed to be representing, but all of us. You have failed us all, and you must acknowledge the blood on your hands. You must apologize for your part in the death of the 96 people who die every day from gun violence. As we walk through your district, tired limbs and calloused feet, we received unwavering support. Like the father and son who took time out of their day to make sure we had water, which, by the way, if you've ever walked 50 miles, you know we definitely were quite thirsty. Or the many people outside in their bathrobes just to cheer us on. When will you cheer us on, Paul? Or the people who rolled down their windows on a chilly Wisconsin morning to share a smile and to give a thumbs up. This gives us hope, because I know that you represent this district, but you don't represent this district. Because as we walk through this district, tired limbs and calloused feet, the people have shown us otherwise. Loving and compassionate people. We want to see compassion from you, Paul. You have proposed bills loosening our already insubstantial gun laws. Paul, you must change your actions, or else, when November comes, you will be voted out. Because our time is coming, and we will be able to vote. Our future is bright. It is important to remember, when we are speaking about gun violence, it is more than just a tragic mass shooting that occurs at a suburban school. We marched 50 more for the brown and black children who have not been able to play outside their homes without the fear of being shot at. We marched 50 more for students who go to school in fear of being shot at. We marched 50 more for the youth that have been discussing gun violence for years, but were ignored. We marched 50 more. Tired limbs and calloused feet. It's been said that protesting gun violence is a new teen fad, but this is not anything new. People of color have been fighting for gun reform for years. Today, their voices will be heard. Our voices will be heard. We will no longer accept the lack of coverage gun violence in urban communities receive. In many of these communities, getting a gun is nearly as easy as getting a chocolate bar. Every day, my brown and black sisters and brothers are dying every day, Paul, but you do not care. You get to enjoy Packer games, fishing, and skiing with your family, while our families are being ripped apart. Paul, I'm declaring that this ends today. I watched a clip from Fox News the other day, and it was mentioned that emotions are a terrible substitute for facts. Although emotions are high, we are not ignoring facts. We are not ignoring the fact that Americans are 25 times more likely to be shot than citizens in other developed nations. We are not ignoring the fact that on average, 7 teenagers killed a day by a bullet. We are pissed off, Paul. So guess what, Paul? This 17-year-old girl hopes that I'm pissing you off too. Speaker Ryan, I hope you are listening. If you are not, how many more miles will it take? 100? 500? 1,000? Because we will do it! Speaker Ryan, I hope you are afraid right now, because your reign of terror will end, because this generation has a voice, and we will be victorious in our mission. Love, a girl with tired limbs and calloused feet. Thank you.
This is what democracy looks like. This
out today. Thank you! My name is Aaliyah, and I'm a freshman at Shorewood High School. I have the privilege today to introduce you to our next speaker, Pardeep Kaleka. We recognize and remember Pardeep's father on mile 41 of our march. We talked a lot about Pardeep throughout the last few days and his ability to take his trauma and turn it into change. He has inspired each of us to keep going with our legs. When our legs and sore feet were tired. He has taken his pain and turned it into change, which is exactly what we are trying to do. He absolutely walks the walk, and it is an honor to have him with us.
Thank you, and I promise I'm not going to spend a lot of time up here because I love hearing the voices of the youth. So I thank you. I'm up here in deep gratitude that I even get to share this space with such brilliance. I have to admit that the last couple of days I have been sort of Facebook stalking you. So I've been watching everything that's been happening, and I did it with a little bit of worry as well. I've been through these streets, and I've gone to school around here, and I've actually tried to walk home from Whitewater to Milwaukee one time. It didn't turn out so good, but I also didn't have the support and love that you guys had. So it was brilliant for me to be able to see this morning that you guys had made national news. And today I really want to encourage, we can be inspired by a lot of these things, but I applaud you because you're so committed. And this was a brilliant just idea and inspiration that turned into this commitment. And watching you guys come over the bridge, that was also beautiful. And then just thinking about civil rights, we thought about that after our shooting when the Sikh temple shooting happened. The Sikh temple shooting took the lives of 6 people, 7 people if you include the shooter, and it was committed by a white supremacist who was an affiliated white supremacist. He had been known to the FBI, the ADL, and the SPLC, and despite all that, he was able to legally purchase a firearm a week before the incident happened. That incident also happened in Paul Ryan's district.
Shame on Paul! 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 Shame on Paul!
So no, thank you for that. And I think shame on Paul and also shame on us that we didn't do more to prevent that from happening. So we also have to accept responsibility for that. And our community was embraced by other communities. So I hope that we use this to not divide us and start to say, like, you know what, this is that community's problem or that community's problem. We're all in this together. 4 months after that happened, Sandy Hook happened. And Sandy Hook happened while I was teaching in a classroom on the north side of Milwaukee. And I remember being told that 6 and 7-year-olds were murdered. And being in a classroom, I had to step out of the classroom and kind of just compose myself before I went back in. And I remember thinking to myself, what is going to happen? What's going to be the reaction after today? December 14th, 2012 is when it happened, near Christmas time. The following day, there was 2 types of responses. One response was, everybody go out to the toy store and buy your kids Christmas gifts and things like that. So at that time, Toys R Us was still in business, and Toys R Us was full. The other response was, every gun store was also full. And that's 2 different dynamics happening right there. One is happening out of love, the other one is happening out of fear. And so we're going to have to expect that as we commit to this journey going forward, that there's going to be people who are scared, who are going to get in your way. And I want you to know that everybody here has your back. What I said earlier was the shooting in 2012 was the deadliest race-based hate attack that had happened in nearly 50 years. And the one before that was the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. And at that time, 4 little girls lost their lives. I'm going to say their names. Adie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and Carol McNair. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. used that day as inspiration for moving forward and committed himself. Justice was not found that year or the year after or the year after that. Justice for the shooters was found 15 years later. The FBI pretty much said the Klan was behind that. But the shooters were not brought to justice until 15 years later. We have to understand that that's the level of commitment we're going up against. And you need to committed, have each other's back, and just understand that fear can't drive the narrative. We say that the stats show that 3 people are killed by gun violence per hour. So each hour, and I think, Katie, you guys were walking for 4 days? 4 days, 3 people killed every hour by gun violence. So I'm not doing great at math, but that's about, that's 370? Okay, perfect. I didn't know where I was going with it. 370 people have died since you guys have taken that walk. That's a lot to think about. 370. That, when I was sitting up here, I was so proud. I'm so proud of what you guys have been able to accomplish, but there's so much to be done. When the last few days, we've been going back and forth with people on social media regarding protection of rights. And what I hear is protection of land, protection of country, protection of liberty, protection of family, protection of faith, protection of self. What I'm basically hearing is people are scared. And we need to address that fear narrative. I thank you for letting me speak up here. I thank you for those voices that were lost at the Sikh temple. After that shooting happened, I found out kind of what was happening inside. And what was happening inside was there was people who, with their last breaths, said prayers. And with those prayers, I thought, we call it shahidi or qurbani or sacrifice or martyrdom. And we say that, when people die in the place that they helped build, in the place that God or the Blessed lives, or the Creator lives, we say that that's a good thing, that's a great thing. And we'll sacrifice that any time of the day to die in those places of worship. And I thought to myself, good, my father died praying in the place that he helped build, in a place of worship. But then I quickly realized that when he was saying those prayers, he wasn't saying those prayers for self. Right. You all are an answer to his prayers. God bless.
I'm 17 and I'm a senior here at Craig High School, and I want to thank all of you guys for what you've done in giving me this opportunity to speak. So I'm going to do the speech that I wrote. 7001, 7002, 7003, 7004, 7005, 7006, 7007, 7008, 7009, 7010. The number only keeps going up and up, and legislators sit back without doing anything. And there's one legislator that I believe, as a community, we would like to call out during this event. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. As a student at Joseph A. Craig High School, the same school where he graduated from, there's a sense of anger towards him. Anger from knowing that my congressman has so much power here in our country, and yet he sits back doing nothing. Very well knowing that a part of his duty is addressing issues not only that as a nation we have, but issues that his district he is serving for strongly believes in. Our community here in Janesville gathered to participate in the March for Our Lives and the National School Walkout. Because as a whole, we can all agree that our congressman isn't doing enough to protect those who he is serving for. We feel let down from all of those empty promises and thoughts and prayers he sends out to everyone. But Mr. Speaker, at Craig, was the topic of discussion with your classmates about the recent school shooting or gun violence, or how you fear that Craig is next? Because mine is. These numbers are not just statistics that one can find on the internet. These numbers represent just another life taken away due to the lack of gun reform. They represent one more set of parents burying their child. They represent one more household that will no longer hear the voice of their loved one. They represent one more parent that will not have the opportunity to watch their child grow up into the person they always wanted to be. They represent one more community that will forever be shattered. They represent the change that we are all here fighting for. We will fight until the change that is needed occurs, because no child should fear going to school and hearing the fire alarm, wondering if it is all part of a plan to commit mass murder. Because concerts are a place to have fun with friends, listening to music, and not listening for the possible sounds of bullets. Because church is a sacred place for individuals and not a place to fear for your life. Because playgrounds are a place to play, restaurants are a place to eat, and sidewalks are a place to walk. We are not fighting to strip people of their Second Amendment. We are fighting for our right to live. Even as we stand here today at a student-organized event, we are constantly being told that we are too young to know what we are talking about. But in reality, this is all we know. I am standing here so my voice is heard. We are all standing here so our voices will be heard. And if Paul Ryan and other politicians refuse, then we will take our voices to the voting booths in November. In 2016, 71% of eligible voters from the ages of 60 and above showed up on Election Day. 68% from the ages of 45 to 59. 59% from the ages of 30 to 44. And sadly, only 42% from the ages of 18 to 29. I can almost guarantee that this statistic will be very different when elections roll around. If the people that other generations are voting in power aren't taking into consideration what young people are fighting for, we will make sure that we will continue to make history by turning out in the voting booths and voting for those who value our lives just as much as the NRA values our guns. Now, Mr. Speaker, you have met a new challenge. You and others in power are now coming face to face with a generation that will not back down until change is made. No more silence and gun violence.
7 organizers for this 50-mile march. Wow, what a week it has been. My feet are sore, but my hope for the future is strong.
Yeah!
Some kids got a trip to Florida for spring break. We got the experience of a lifetime. I'm here today to align myself with my brothers and sisters from Madison, Eau Claire, Milwaukee, and every other city in this great state of Wisconsin that believe that it is time for responsible gun reform. I am unique in our 50 More team as I am from a family that has a long history of hunting. When I was 12, I became the first girl in my family to break the gender barrier and hunt with the boys. I have passed hunter safety, shotguns at the range, and last year harvested my first deer. I am a proud Wisconsin sports woman. And I'm here to tell you that our policy demands do nothing to infringe on the rights of hunters in Wisconsin and across America. There's no sport in hunting with an automatic weapon. If you can't shoot your game with the 6 shells in your gun, you don't need more bullets. You need more practice. If you can't wait 4 days to buy a gun, you need to plan a little better. Our policy demands are not only reasonable, they are responsible. They include military-style weapons, and all weapons of war should be banned from civilian society. All accessories that turn semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons should be banned, including bump stocks. And increasing the legal purchasing age of all guns to 21 with background checks on all gun sales. The 50 miles that I marched was not only the experience of a lifetime because I was able to fight for something I believe in, but I was also able to meet and connect with so many new faces that all have different stories and reasonings behind why they marched. The 2 girls that traveled the farthest to be here with us are Zariah and Violet from Eau Claire. On the first day of marching, I got to talking about them about what life was like living in the northern part of Wisconsin. I realized how different the places in which we lived in were, but I also realized the similar interests we had. It is so amazing meeting people that believe in the same thing that you do and the actions that they take in order to make a difference. The youth of today is so strong, and we are not backing down. We only get stronger together. In conclusion, I stand here today with not only 40 of my new friends, but with each of you as we collectively call out Speaker Ryan to pass gun legislation that is responsible, reasonable, and will save lives in cities across this country. Thank you.
Democrats. 96 people die from gun violence every single day in this country. And to that, there should be no debate about the types of steps that we should take to keep everyone in this country safe. Our lawmakers, when hearing this statistic, should jump to action to make a change to establish law that would at least decrease the amount of lives lost every day, yet some of them refuse to even talk about it. And talking about our different beliefs is actually something us marchers did pretty frequently while walking. Yes, all 40 of us believe the same thing about common sense gun reform, but that does not mean we believe the same about every other highly debated topic today. Our discussions while marching spanned from who we all really believed was the best candidate in the 2016 election, to how our country handles racism on a daily basis, to how Aaliyah's life is going to be in the future now that Shawn Mendes follows her on Twitter. And this is exactly what we want to happen with our representatives when we are finished here today. We want to be a part of the conversation with our lawmakers about changes that will actually save lives. We want a seat at the table. The reason I say this is because this country is a democracy, and in a democracy, you are supposed to listen to each other. And while a conversation about what we can do to put a halt to the gun violence that is plaguing this country does not scare us, it seems to scare Paul Ryan and the other politicians. We have heard absolutely nothing from him and his office besides the vague statement from his spokeswoman saying the congressman respects those expressing their views. I know, right? Yeah. If I remember correctly, from the government class I took my freshman year of high school, my teacher, Mr. Carey, taught us that elected officials work for the people, not anyone else. When those people raise their voice about an issue at hand, the lawmakers have to listen to them to work to a solution that will solve the issue. Millions of people marched in the March for Our Lives events last Saturday. 40 of us just marched 50 miles. So now to the politicians, to Paul Ryan, do something. Make the change. As Lauren touched upon, we have outlined 3 different asks to our legislators to keep us safer. These are demands that we believe are sensible and will surely decrease the number of deaths this issue causes. The first is a ban on all military-style weapons. This would be a weapon of war. A weapon of war was something that was designed to kill another human being. These are weapons that were certainly not even fathomable by our founding fathers when they wrote the Second Amendment. Our second demand is a ban of all accessories that turn semi-automatic weapons. These demands are not met by a very important date in November of this year, then I am confident that the citizens of this country, including the youth that stand before me here today, will perform their civic duty and vote for change. And to those youth who chose not to vote when they had the opportunity to in the past, I urge you to get out to the polls and vote for change because your vote matters. Over the last 4 days, the 40 of us combined our voices into a collective one and let the entire country know that our opinions matter. And the exact same thing applies to your singular vote. By getting out to the polls, together we can combine all of our votes to effect some change of our own. I leave you with one final thing, and I think this will sit with you very well. Come November, if the politicians do not make the change, then we will change the politicians. Thank you.
Mile 9 is where things started getting tough for us. It was right after lunch on the first day, and our legs were getting really tired, and our feet were developing blisters, and it felt like every step we took was more painful than the last. 20 feet felt like 20 miles. I'm gonna be honest, it was really, really hard to keep going. Every day, it was harder for our bodies to keep moving. Mile 10, mile 20, mile 30, mile 35, mile 40. Every step felt like a marathon. So why did we? At times when it felt like we weren't going anywhere, why did we keep moving?
My name is Katie Eater, and I am a senior at Short High School, and I am one of the organizers for 50 Miles More. And I kept moving because despite so many people telling us that ending gun violence is impossible, it's too ambitious, it's too difficult, I believe with every bone in my very sore body that this is the time to do the impossible. Sometimes it feels like we're not moving. Sometimes it feels like the steps we take, the miles we trek aren't adding up. But then eventually we reach mile 45 and mile 46 and mile 47, and we realize we've done something. We've gone somewhere. On March 14th, we walked out of class to make a statement on gun violence. On March 24th, we took to the streets to make a statement on gun violence. And on March 25th, we started a 50-mile journey to make a statement on gun violence. And has it done anything? Yeah. Have we gone anywhere? Yeah. Has there been change? Yeah. Not yet. But does that mean we stop moving? Does that mean we stop pushing forward? Does that mean we give up? No. What it means is that we get a leg brace, get a Band-Aid, put an arm around our friends, and keep on moving. 50 Miles More started off as a march from Madison, Wisconsin to right here in Janesville, Wisconsin. Hashtag 50 more, 50 miles more. But hashtag 50 more also means something else. In the US, Wisconsin is one of 50 states, and we've done it. We've walked 50 miles, and now it's everyone else's turn. Today, 50 Miles More is officially launching a campaign we are calling hashtag 50 more in hashtag 50 states. We are challenging young people in the other 49 states to plan a 50-mile march to the hometown or office of one of their elected officials before the November elections. We are already putting together toolkits, collecting seed money, and talking with young people from around the country in order to have 49 marches by November. It's a big feat, we know that, but walking 50 miles in 4 days was a big feat, and we just did that. So to all the young people out there, if you're interested in organizing a 50 Mile More march in your state, go to our website, 50milesmore.org, to get in for more information. The young people have just gotten started. Kids may only be 25% of the nation's population, but we are 100% of the future. And you all better look out, because that future is about to get amazing. If I've learned nothing else from 50 Miles More, it's that in order to walk the full 50 miles, you just have to take a single step. Then you take another step. And another step, and then another one. March for Our Lives was a step. Walking from Madison to Janesville was a step. We have more steps. But each young person that marched these last 4 days is living proof that if we keep taking those steps, we get somewhere. We kept marching even when our feet hurt, and our ankles hurt, and our knees really hurt. We kept marching because we knew we could do it. We knew we could do the impossible. And now we're calling on you. Start marching, because you too can do the impossible.
supporting this movement, supporting these kids, just letting them speak. And I want to take a moment and just recognize this amazing group of students who took it upon themselves, started a national movement. I mean, how amazing is that? All right. So as we end here today, I want you to think about every single one of these faces of these students. And I want you to think about every single word that they said. I want it to resonate with you, and I want it to spark action. Right now is the time to act. And right now, we have a chance to make change. So thank you all for coming out.